can really damage your roof, and an ignored leak can be serious. Premier South Roofing can stop your drip before it drains your wallet. Premier South Roofing at premierSouthLA.com.
Got a crack? Yeah, we're talking about your windshield, so chill. But seriously, if it's spreading, don't ignore it. Advanced Windshield comes to you, fixes it right, and recalibrates everything so your car stays safe. AdvancedWindshield.com.
If you've been in an accident and the insurance company won't pay for your rental or the diminished value of your vehicle, you aren't alone. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 2620484, office in Baton Rouge.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Bank, and we start with coaching news in the NBA. According to ESPN Shams Charania, Bulls are finalizing a deal for Thiago Splitter to take over as their new head coach. Splitter worked in Portland last season. Also, according to Shams Charania, Darren Peterson is making a pre-draft visit with the Wizards, but will not visit any other teams. While the Knicks are still savoring their first NBA title in 53 years, Finals MVP Jalen Brunson was on Good Morning America and talked about what it was like to celebrate the championship with his father.
I mean, it's really special to be able to share that moment with him. I think I said this a couple of times, but him being a journeyman in the NBA, like, I never really got to be around him consistently.
The Knicks will get a championship parade in New York on Thursday. At the World Cup, a shocker as Spain settles for a scoreless draw with Cape Verde. Belgium and Egypt are about to get underway in Seattle. Later at 6 Eastern at Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. And then tonight at 9 Eastern in Southern California, it'll be New Zealand taking on Iran. The College World Series on ESPN. In the bottom of the second inning, Texas leads Alabama 3-1 as they play in an elimination game.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Tuesday, as the New York Knicks celebrate their first title in 53 years, I'll tell you if other teams can copy their recipe for success. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Hope that work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you being here with us. Texas 5, Alabama 1 from Omaha. Longhorns all over Alabama pitching early in this one. We're going to talk some Saints here in about 1 minute, but I just saw this on Twitter and it made me laugh, so I've got to check this out. This has got to be, I mean, soccer, I don't have a good handle on soccer. Y'all know this. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't watch soccer. This is obvious. Maybe this is more common than I think, but it just seems just like a preposterous move. Tunisia, I don't know if they're good or not, but they lost 5-1 in their World Cup game last night, I think to Sweden. They fired their coach today. They just started the World Cup. They played one match. They have at least 2 more to go, and they canned their coach. That can't be general practice. That would be, I can't even come up with something in that vein. In, I guess, like, if you were in the NBA playoffs, that's a serious sport, maybe the MLB playoffs, and you got dusted in the NBA playoffs by like 30 on your home floor, and you're just like, all right, fire the coach, interim guy, you're in. Like, this guy theoretically has been with them through the buildup of, like, cultivating the national team, getting them ready for action. They play 90 minutes plus. He's out. He's out of a gig. Soccer does some weird stuff. They burn things in the stands. You got South Americans that maybe put hits out on people if they don't make enough saves. There's weird soccer stuff. Firing the coach one game into the World Cup is a weird thing to do. But it's Tunisia and it's soccer, so I don't have any further comment other than I think it's weird. Let's get into some things that I know a little bit more about. We can do that with the New Orleans Saints. Bleacher Report came out with a little exercise today. Best case and worst case scenarios for every offense in the National Football League. And what I like to do prior to reading these list pieces or summer content pieces, like we'll just call them what they are, like they're meant to be discussed, right? I think about what I would say, and then I read it. And so if I'm looking at the Saints offense and I say best case, worst case, let's start with the bad news and get to the good news. That's the way you generally like to do things, right? Like worst case scenario for the Saints is pretty obvious. It's a Tyler Shuck significant regression. It's looking up at some point in mid-November, and you've only got 2 wins, and Shuck's turning the ball over a ton, and it just doesn't look good. That would be the worst case scenario for the Saints, because as important as Chris Olave and his new deal are to the organization, as important as your 2 tackles are on each side of the offensive line, as important as you plugging in a new left guard to solidify things, and your 1,000-yard back that you just brought in, and your first-round receiver, as I mentioned, and going to solidify things at tight end with 2 draft picks in the last 2 years and a free agent signing of fan. Like, as important as all that stuff is, and it is, as important as Kellen Moore is, and he is, if your quarterback's no good, it's over. And we entered the draft last year thinking, okay, it may take a minute to find the quarterback. Not everybody is Peyton Manning right into Andrew Luck. Not everybody is Favre into Rodgers into Love. Usually, there's a lull. Usually, you're trying to find that next guy, and it takes some time. There's usually a little Mac Jones in there before you find the guy that you want before there's usually a little bit of trouble after Brady, right? And so I'm sitting here in a completely different headspace than I was last year because of Tyler Shuck at the end of the season beating some bad teams. And I think that should give Saints fans a lot of reason for optimism. But for me, Shuck not playing well clearly is the worst case scenario for the Saints. And so I go to read it, and worst case scenario, Shuck doesn't improve. The writing says Shuck flashed a high ceiling during his 9 rookie starts, and New Orleans expects him to continue growing in year 2. Of course, it's worth noting that Shuck entered the NFL as an older prospect and will turn 27 in September. It's reasonable to expect year 2 growth. However, Shuck's already approaching his NFL. If Shuck is already approaching his NFL ceiling, the Saints offense may top out as merely average. So we agreed with that. I would suggest, before I read it, best case scenario, that probably involves Shuck as well. But if you're not going to double up there and just say, well, this whole thing is Shuck dependent, I would say best case scenario, Jordan Tyson becomes a offensive rookie of the year candidate. If that happens, you now have a receiving core that falls into place. Olave is an elite 2 and a below average 1. If he becomes your 2, now you're elite. And by definition, if Jordan Tyson surpasses Chris Olave and goes out there and catches 1,400 yards worth of balls and 11 touchdowns, you've now got a real number 1. And so you then just let the rest of the guys fill that spot. You let Vele fill his spot as the big body, third down red zone threat. You let Bryce Lance come along at his speed as a deep threat. You let Juwan Johnson and Fant and Delp be third, fourth, fifth options in the passing game. You have players filling a role that makes more sense. Chris Olave as a 1 automatically limits the ceiling of your receiving core. That's just the truth. If he's the best you have, you're not going to be amongst the best in the league. He can be on a receiving core that is amongst the best in the league. If he's the best receiver on it, then I don't necessarily see it, because I think there are 15 receivers better than him in the NFL. But if Jordan Tyson's one of those, now you got something. That's the best case for me. What does Bleacher Report say? Bleacher Report says Travis Etienne, HN, Jordan Tyson allow Kellen Moore to open up the offense. Kind of the same thing. You're talking about the running game. And I could suggest that somebody, if asked the same question about best case scenario, you would say, not that Jordan Tyson's a true number one, that with the addition of Edwards, with the two tackles, Fuaga and Banks growing up, and a healthy McCoy, you become a top 12 rushing offense in the NFL. That may be best case scenario, because in that way, you would control the ball, control the clock, get ahead of the chains, take pressure off Shuck, make the defense come forward, open up play action pass, create one-on-one matchups. Like all of that comes with the running game benefits the quarterback. Because nothing's easier for a second-year quarterback to do, whether he's 27 or 22. Nothing's easier than turn around and hand the ball off. Nothing's easier than giving out of the shotgun. It's the easiest thing you can do as a quarterback. So I can see that as well. And that's kind of a blend of those two things together, in that Travis Etienne and Jordan Tyson allow Kellen Moore to really do the things that he wants to do. But what this really got me thinking about, and we'll probably do defense tomorrow if Bleacher Report comes out with that, is what's the best case scenario for the Saints and what's the worst case scenario for the Saints? Not the offense, the team. And I got to thinking about that to a degree. And I don't want to be hyperbolic with it, but you also understand that some wild things have happened. You would not have put a Super Bowl ceiling on the Patriots last year. You would not have put an NFC Championship game ceiling on Washington 2 years ago. Those were kind of, in NFL terms, out of nowhere. So really, why even try to put a ceiling on it? But if I'm trying to be realistic, I think the Saints' ceiling is a home playoff game from winning the division and winning that playoff game. Then I think at that point you would go on the road, and I think you would be stretching if you try to put the ceiling over the top of that. And worst case scenario gets ugly with Shuck not playing well and that start with an 0-2 and then potentially a bumpy homestand, and it can get ugly, worst case scenario. But if you just stick to the offense, there are bigger question marks there, which leaves a lot of variance. That ceiling's pretty high with the additions you've made and with Shuck developing, and that floor is low because you don't have proven commodity in Jordan Tyson and Tyler Shuck. It's this team that has a lot of variance in where it can be. And I think that makes them one of the more exciting teams to follow. Just glad that we're out of the doldrums that we were in for about 4 years there. If you want to read it, you can check it out at Bleacher Report. It's a cool little piece with every single team in the NFL listed. But Saints, best case scenario, Etienne and Tyson allow Kellen Moore to open things up for Tyler Shuck. Worst case scenario, Shuck's not the dude. And we don't need to talk any further about Shuck not being the dude in June. If we're going to have that conversation, it's going to be in late September, mid-October. No sense in having that right now. Because right now, let's just believe he is the dude. I'm good with that. Just leave it right where it is. That's our discussion on the Saints for today. You can check out Ross Jackson stuff at LouisianaSports.net and my Saints content. Always available at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. When we come back, LSU football nabbed a flip of a commitment. It's the first at that position. It might not be the only one today. I'll talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. LifetimeRoofingLA.com is that website. Look, Lifetime Roofing is a local roofer you can trust, and that's important when it comes to roofing because most of us, myself very much included, don't know what we're looking for on top of a roof. Can't go up there and figure out if something's wrong. Now, if I got leakage, I know something's wrong. But honestly, you can't really tell if you're like me. Lifetime Roofing will go up there and do an inspection for you. They'll tell you if you need a new roof, and they'll help you with that. If you need to do it retail, they can do that with financing options. If you need to file a claim, they can help you through that process as well. They can also tell you if you need a tune-up. They can tell you if you just need a repair, not a fully new roof. They're not going to take advantage of you because you don't know exactly what you're looking at on top of a roof. Some roofing companies will. They'll sell you their most expensive goods. That's a new roof. You can trust Lifetime Roofing. They're here in Baton Rouge. They've got a gorgeous facility just off College, a growing team based here in Baton Rouge, and they're here to serve South Louisiana. So if you feel like you might have a roof issue, if you just want peace of mind to know that you do, Lifetime Roofing can help you out with that. Check them out online at LifetimeRoofingLA.com. LifetimeRoofingLA.com.
What's the difference between a house and a home? A house is somewhere you live. A home is somewhere you start a family, make memories, or continue family traditions. At GMFS Mortgage, we make home happen. And our tradition is to help our clients from start to finish, whether you're ready to buy, build, renovate, or refinance. For more information, check out gmfsmortgage.com. That's gmfsmortgage.com. For GMFS Mortgage, where we make home happen.
GMFS LLC, NMLS 64997 is equal housing lender. Mortgages originated at 7389 Florida Boulevard, Suite 208, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70435. Loan applications are subject to credit and property approval.
You've been thinking about it for 365 days. Now's the time to make that change. And one day at the Fusion Implant Center can change your life forever. Hi, this is Dr. Michael Casadaband.
And I'm Dr. Leo Reagan. Are you one of 50 million people missing teeth or tired of wearing dentures? If so, at Fusion Implant Center, we have a solution for you.
The board-certified doctors here at Fusion Implant Center will ensure your procedures are done correctly, painlessly, and cost-effectively. Over 30,000 dental implants placed, and a 5-star Google rating back this up.
The larger corporate-owned centers don't do what we do, plain and simple. At Fusion Implant Center, you will see the same staff and specialists each visit, the same local doctors that have been treating patients for over 30 years.
So don't give it a second thought. Your first consultation is free. Give us a call or visit FusionImplantCenter.com.
Because one moment can change a day, and one day at Fusion Implant Center can change your life forever.
Summer savings are happening now at Hood Dental Care. This June, new patient specials start at $89, plus save $500 on Invisalign. Schedule an appointment, bring in the family, or refer friends and qualify for a chance to win a Disney World getaway with 4 4-day park tickets and resort stay included. Hood Dental Care also offers online scheduling, same-day care, and cherry financing with flexible payment options and instant decisions. Visit one of 5 Hood Dental Care locations across East Baton Rouge and Livingston parishes. Book now at hooddentalcare.com. hooddentalcare.com.
Did you know there's a Brock on every block? With 10 locations to serve you in Baton Rouge, Gonzales, Walker, Hammond, Zachary, and Brewley, home to 38 top physicians, finding the right care is easy. Learn more at brortho.com. Flu is running rampant. If you want to sanitize any space, your home, any public building, office building, work, doctor's office, church, Parish Restoration can help. Just go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. They'll come in, they'll spray their patented, non-toxic dry fog treatment. It is safe, it is effective, it is efficient, it is cost-effective. It's Parish Restoration. Get rid of flu and other harmful toxins and pathogens, parishrestoration.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Buying or selling a home in Baton Rouge, Mid-City Title makes closing easy. Mobile closings, expert services, midcitytitle.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding health care forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Always love to remind you about Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They're on. They got such a great history here in South Louisiana. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years, and their son Justin now is helping run the show. And the customer service you get from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical is phenomenal. They'll come out to your house, survey the situation. If you're looking for that Generac home standby generator, they'll get you a quote more often than not right there on the spot. And then if you decide to move forward with it, to give yourself the peace of mind of knowing you won't lose power because you've got that Generac home standby generator right there on site, then they'll have a local team come out and install it. They will monitor your generator 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if there is an issue mechanically, they're going to send a local team out quickly to make sure it's ready to go. Because the last thing you want is to spend your hard-earned money on a Generac home standby generator and then have a equipment breakdown you're not even aware of, and then the power goes out and you think the generator is going to come on and it just doesn't. And that could happen to you if you buy from the big box store and never hear from them again. That will never happen at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. You will always be in contact with them. It's just part of their business model. It's why they've been successful for 40 years. Give them a call. They're down there in the 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. You can call the Gonzales location as well, 225-300-9389. Tell them you want that Generac home standby generator in now because it's storm season. It's time to get rolling. Boudreaux's Electrical can help you out with that. They're online at boudreauxelectrical.com. All right, LSU flips a commitment from Cal on the offensive line. Amaziah Siale is the latest entrant into LSU's recruiting class of 2027. He's a big dude. He hails from Hawaii, 6'6", 330 pounds, rated as a 3-star recruit by rivals ESPN and 24/7, but obviously big projectable body. He had been committed to Cal, but he had taken a visit to LSU. Texas was in the mix. He had a visit scheduled to Texas. He's canceled that visit to Texas. He's going to come to LSU. He also visited Oklahoma. He visited Notre Dame. He visited SMU, visited West Virginia. Seen a lot of places, but Cal was the place he had been committed to. Now he flips to LSU. He's the first offensive lineman into this class for the Tigers. And you might say, well, a 3-star, like why? And I get that. Here's what I've gathered from Lane Kiffin early on, and I think this is probably going to be the case a lot of the time. I didn't say all the time, but a lot of the time. This is a money-based system in roster composition. You've got a salary cap. And Lane Kiffin has been very upfront. He wants the guys he spends money on to play. Will Wade has said the same thing in basketball. We're not paying 13 guys. We're paying 7 or 8. Those are the guys we're going to play. In football, you can't pay 7 or 8, but you can prioritize 40 and then fill the back end of the roster. Guys that don't play, that make a significant amount of money, hamper your ability to win because it's essentially dead money. Now, there's something to be said for getting guys in the program, developing them, and having them contribute as sophomores, juniors, and seniors, of course. And you do want to make sure that that is the case. And I believe Lane Kiffin took the LSU job for legitimate access to some of those players. But what position group, more so than any other, struggles to play as true freshmen? Offensive linemen. Running backs, they play. Wide receivers, they play. Corey Raymond corners, they play. Offensive linemen struggle to get to the field as 18 and 19-year-old young men. The offensive line is more for 20 to 22-year-olds to play. You got to fill out. You got to learn to deal with these 6'4", 245-pound terrors off the SEC edges who are 22 years old, 23 years old. And that's just a hard thing for offensive linemen to do. So offensive linemen don't help a lot as freshmen. Don't get a lot of Will Campbells. So I don't think Lane Kiffin is going to be really quick to spend a lot of money to outbid Ohio State, Georgia, Florida, and Texas on 4-star offensive tackles. That's just my guess. I think he'd rather have Jordan Seaton. He'd rather have Alu Ba. If he's going to develop depth, he's going to go do it with William Satterwhite, who's 2 years into his Tennessee career. So I think you're going to see 3-star offensive linemen that may not be getting huge offers from other programs, that may need to be projects in a sense, that may transfer out. But you're not going to invest significantly for the 2027 team on an offensive lineman who's not going to play for the 2027 team unless something goes really wrong. And you haven't seen LSU sign an offensive lineman in this class. But they just got that commitment from Amaziah Siale. And that is not expected to be the only commitment they get from an offensive lineman today. Today, Terrence Smith, a 4-star offensive lineman from Pennsylvania, is set to announce. And the feeling from those that are making predictions, Shea Dixon being one of them, is that LSU is going to land Terrence Smith. He's another big dude, 6'7", 290 pounds. He's visited Rutgers, he's visited Auburn, he's visited Penn State, and he just left a visit to Tennessee. 24/7 loves Terrence Smith. They think he's the number 39 player in the country. Rivals has him as 23 at his position. But he's a 4-star across the board. And you're looking at a guy that has some high-level offers and is a projectable frame. Both these guys are north of 6'6", and they're big dudes who can get stronger. And I think that at some positions, LSU is going to swim at the top of the high school ranks. Corner, wide receiver, absolutely. You want to look for edge rushers that you can get in the program? Sure. Well, yeah, absolutely. You see guys specifically from the state of Louisiana, no matter what their position is. Yeah, you got a good chance to keep those guys and develop them. You want Ahmad Hudson, even though he costs a lot. You want Albert Simeon, even though he costs a lot. You want Tradez Green and Will Campbell, even though they cost a lot, because those guys are from Louisiana, they may stick around. But nationally, offensive linemen, quarterbacks, those are guys that cost a lot and don't play as freshmen. I don't know if LSU is going to jump into those waters immediately to have that much dead money on the roster. That's just not helping you. So I think this is going to be a really good day for LSU as far as recruiting. I don't know if it's going to be the most high-profile day because you're not talking about guys that are five-star recruits or top 15 players in the country. But I think this is probably the way, based on his press conference answers and then the composition of the class, you're going to look at closer to 3-star linemen, 4-star linemen that have some physical traits that they could potentially grow into, but they're also not going to command a ridiculous amount of cash in the world of recruiting. It's an interesting game. The Billy Glasscock, Lane Kiffin have to sit there and play because you've got to do what's best for you, and you got to understand that you're going to have to assemble your roster for significant cash. You can't have that cash. You're spending it on guys that don't play. So this is a really good thing for LSU. Going to be a little under the radar, but two big offensive linemen that do have some SEC offers that will become the first two offensive linemen in this group. LSU's got to continue to stock those shells on the offensive line. I could argue that, among other things, the offensive line's downfall was the downfall of the Brian Kelly era. You've got to get that right. You've got to be able to run the ball and protect your quarterback in this Lane Kiffin offense. These two guys won't be doing it for LSU this coming fall, and they probably won't next fall. But they could in 3 or 4 falls if they decide to stick around and develop. But either way, it doesn't feel like they're probably going to command a ridiculous amount of cash in the process. So looking at a commitment for LSU that's already in from Amaziah Siale, and one that everyone is expecting at this point from Terrence Smith. There'll be 2 offensive linemen for Coach Wolford, Coach Craig, Coach Kiffin, and LSU. Try to continue to assemble that recruiting class that got off to a slow start numbers-wise, but it started to pick up the pace. Shea Dixon has tweeted this out. He thinks it could be a 3-commitment in 24-hour situation for LSU. Mentioned those 2, potentially a running back that LSU could grab in a tomorrow announcement. So exciting times for Lane Kiffin as they continue to work the high school trail. And we're getting closer to some LSU Fighting Tiger football. I talked about media days in the first segment. That's 5 weeks away. I talked about our series we're doing right now. 3 things on a team every single day. We knocked Clemson off the list earlier today with 3 things to look at with Dabo Sweeney's program. So if you're itching for football, hunt on LSU's where all our football content lives for LSU. You can also read about it at LouisianaSports.net. Texas all over Alabama. It is 7-1 Longhorns over the Crimson Tide. Tide has already gone to the bullpen. Ruger Riojas still dealing for the Longhorns as they try to stay alive and end Alabama's season up in Omaha. Looks like a pretty nice crowd for a Monday afternoon there at Charles Schwab Field. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit more. We've got 30 minutes to go here. It is a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If your bathroom or your house were built in 1990-ish, 1995-ish, you may have one of those big jacuzzi-style tubs. They were very popular then. A lot of buttons, a lot of jets, and it may not be functional this day, or maybe it just has never been a priority for you. You don't use it. Well, think about how much space that tub is taking up. You can take it out and put in a gorgeous glass walk-in shower. Same space, completely different function, dresses up your bathroom, adds value to your home, gives you something you'll actually use. That's what David Vaughn and his team do all the time. Tub-to-shower conversions are right up their alley. And I asked David, we were talking with him, like, hey, what does this timeline look like to do a tub-to-shower conversion? Like, well, every job is a little bit different, but most often 3 to 5 days. You're talking about less than a week. You could transform your bathroom. If that's something you're interested in, go to OneBathAndClosets.com. Request that free consultation with David and his team. It's One Bath and Closets. They're online at OneBathAndClosets.com.
Are you feeling hopeless, isolated, depressed? For years, I lived my life in fear. It's just that my mind could not shut off.
Fear, isolation. These are the battles that so many people face every day. But it doesn't have to be this way. Now, Gail doesn't suffer like she used to, thanks to TMS therapy at NeuroJust, a minimally invasive treatment proven to improve depression without the side effects of medication.
Now I can go shopping, come back home, cook, put clothes in the laundry. I can do multiple things in one day. I have never did this in about 22 years.
Start your healing journey today with your free consultation at NeuroJust. Call 225-755-9733. 225-755-9733. That's 225-755-9733.
Big news! Ford employee pricing is back at Robinson Brothers Ford. You pay what we pay on nearly every Ford model. That's right, you pay exactly what Ford factory employees and even their CEO pays. Save thousands on F-150s, Super Duties, Broncos, Expeditions, and more. More selection, more savings. Right here at Robinson Brothers Ford. From America, for Americans. Since 1946, Robinson Brothers Ford. Available on the purchase or lease of an eligible new 2025 or 2026 Ford vehicle from a participating Ford dealer. Exclusions apply. N7626, see dealer for details.
I'm Mariah Butcher, nurse practitioner with Rejuvenate Medical. If you feel like your progress has stalled, peptide therapy at Rejuvenate Medical helps you go further. Better recovery, metabolism, and energy built around your plan. Find us at rejuvenatemedical.com.
If you're an automotive technician and you think that you have to work at a dealership to make a living, you're wrong. TRICARE Automotive has the opportunity you are looking for. Visit TRICAREautomotive.com right now.
Winning teams on the field or in the office. Wear Red Stick Sports. Family owned since 1981, Red Stick Sports helps Baton Rouge businesses and teams look their best with custom corporate apparel, uniforms, and specialty items that make your brand stand out. From polos and pullovers to full team uniforms and promotional gear, Red Stick Sports makes your crew look like champions. Red Stick Sports. Locally owned, locally proud. Visit redsticksports.com today.
Discover Greystone Country Club, Denham Springs' premier private retreat, just 10 miles from Baton Rouge. Experience 18 challenging holes of magnificent golf on this lake and streamlined course, plus practice facilities, driving range, chipping, putting, and pro instruction. There's a resort-style pool, children's spray park, tennis and basketball courts, playground and fitness area. Host your dream wedding, banquet, or tournament with top-notch services. Visit GreystoneCountryClub.com or tour the grounds in person.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Moving right along here on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions, GuaranteeHealth.com, GuaranteeHealth.com. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Been fast moving. We talked about a lot of different things. Talked Saints at the top of hour number 2. Little NBA Finals recap, just kind of what I saw on social media after the Knicks won it. We've talked some College World Series, talked Clemson football, as well as Jason Wax at LSU brought in over the weekend from Tulane to help bolster its offense to try to get back to the College World Series next year. And I want to spend a little bit of time on the College World Series today. Texas is in complete control. They're going to send Alabama home. It's the top of the 4th inning right now in Omaha, but Texas is already up 7-1. I just did not think Alabama was good all year. I don't think Alabama is good today. I think they got some really good breaks in the draw. They did not have to play the 2 seed in the second game of their regional. They got St. John's in a super, and I think their starting pitching was okay. I think Brady Neal's had a nice day. I think Justin LeBron's a huge talent. I think Rob Vaughn's a good coach, but I just don't think Alabama has been very good all year, and I think they'll be going home. As I am lamenting the entire Alabama program, they just pumped a homer into the right center field seats. But that being said, they're down 7-2, and I still don't think they're very good. I think Texas will finish them off here in this game in those hideous camouflage uniforms. But as we talk about the other teams that are around, and I want to talk about tonight's game, I also don't think Oklahoma is great. But it's amazing that Oklahoma is going to play in a winner's bracket game in the College World Series today, starting a freshman in Game 1 of the College World Series on Saturday, and Cord Rager was brilliant. And they're going to start another one tonight in Xander Mercurius. And Xander Mercurius is kind of a come lately for them. Like LJ Mercurius, his brother, was their ace early in the season. He carved up LSU at the box. Cam Johnson started the first game, couldn't throw it over the plate, and then so they went to Mercurius in Game 2, and he was great, and Oklahoma ended up winning that game. But he's been the better Mercurius, and now the younger Mercurius is going to pitch. And so having a second straight freshman starter in the College World Series is not advisable. And that's what Oklahoma is going to do. And Georgia is going to go with Caden Aoki, who, if you watch him pitch tonight, it's interesting because he's one of the few really effective college pitchers that doesn't throw hard. You're going to see a lot of 89s from him tonight. But Georgia offensively is just really, really, really good. And they hit the ball hard a lot. And I think as the weather continues to change, when you find those days that are conducive to hitting, which we've seen a little bit of in the afternoon days, I think they're going to hit a ton. And you know that Daniel Jackson's going to hit, and you know that Trey Phelps is going to hit, and they're just a lot to deal with. And it feels like we're on a collision course for Georgia and North Carolina, which you could absolutely sign me up for. But it's something I talked about in the first hour. It's starting pitching that is won the day. And Ole Miss is going home because their starting pitching faltered. Alabama's starting pitching was not nearly good enough to compete with Cord Rager on Saturday. And Alabama's starter made it all of 3 innings, not even 3 innings today, and they've given up 7 runs. It's the starting pitching that's got to get done. And LSU, as I look at them right now, is counting on the returners. And this goes back to the discussion we just had about football. When you look at Jay Johnson and you realize what's coming next season, you have to decide where you're going to spend your money. You probably, and I say probably because until proven otherwise, I'll think this, but I realize that I don't know exactly how much money LSU has. Probably LSU can't pay everybody. And so you have the makings of a pitching staff on your roster. You have Kason Evans, William Schmidt, Cooper Moore, Marcos Paz, Reagan Ricken. You have Ethan Plog, potentially Santiago Garcia, Danny Lockenmeyer. Like, you've got some guys, and that's not counting what you expect to get from your freshman class, which is deep and talented, and they can't draft everybody. Offensively, you have Braun, Cerna, Aaron Beatty, and then Ruckert and Patrick. Ruckert and Patrick are completely unproven at this level. They played some of it unproven. You got 3 guys. So what are you going to do to overhaul that roster? Are you going to count on Ruckert, Patrick, Cerna, Aaron Beatty, Braun, and freshmen to be your offense? And then while you're paying Evans, Moore, and Schmidt, and Paz and Ricken, go pay more guys out of the transfer portal, 3 more, and spend all your money on pitching, and then just keep your guys in-house and hope 3 freshmen come through and are awesome, and Braun develops, and Ruckert develops, and Patrick develops? Or are you going to keep the guys in-house financially on the pitching side, develop them, add 1 guy to the mix, and then go make sure your offense is as good as it can be? I mean, in your effort to be balanced, it's probably an easier path to go get offensive players and hope your pitching grows up. I just told you pitching is the most important thing. I told you entering the portal, they better go get a guy that could be your Friday night starter. And they may have with Hood. He could be it. Evans could be it. Schmidt could be it. I'd be surprised if Cooper Moore was. I'd be surprised if Marcos Paz was. But this is probably the smartest way for Jay Johnson to go about this. I have 6 guys that I think can be good pitchers. I only have half a lineup. I need to fill out the rest of the lineup. I need the pitchers to grow up. I need a couple of freshmen to come in and help. I need a Kason Evans out of this class to help. And that happens. Alex Lang happened. Kevin Gaussman happened. Aaron Nola happened. There are freshmen that can help. You got to make sure that you get a couple of them through the draft. There are freshmen that can help. I'm anxious about LSU's pitching, but at the same time, I understand Jay Johnson's roadmap. I understand why he thought the best way to go spend money was to get proven veteran hitters, to get back to what you were trying to do offensively, make sure that those guys are out there for 56 games. You got to count on some growing up for your pitching staff, and I'll go supplement it with one or maybe two more guys. The majority of LSU's transfer money has been spent on offense. I just told you I think pitching's the most important thing, but you do have to field that offense. And Georgia's pretty ferocious offensively, and they've been the most consistent team in the country. So it's a bit of a, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but you're hearing me flesh it out in real time. I think they needed pitching upgrades and still do. There are not great starting pitching options in the portal. Suchi from UConn may be the best of the lot. But what you have is now a fortified offense and real talent that Nate Yeske's going to have to get the best out of. And I know, I can hear y'all say, well, hey, Yeske should have been fired. You weren't saying that on the Omaha podium last year. This year was bad. He did a bad job this year. The pitchers did a bad job this year. The catchers did a bad job this year. The entire pitching operation did a bad job this year. That doesn't mean they have to do a bad job next year. Now you're going to have to get guys that did a bad job this year to do a better job next year. And I said they need to go get some new dudes. I'm not convinced they're done getting pitchers in the portal. They need to make that happen, and we'll see what the draft yields. But this roadmap that Jay Johnson has carved out, based on what I'm watching in Omaha, probably makes sense, but it does make me a little bit nervous. Because the alternative here is telling Kason Evans, William Schmidt, Cooper Moore to walk. Well, that ain't happening, okay? That's not going to happen. That would be foolish. You just need them to be better. And I think it's realistic to suggest they can be better. They're going to sit most of this summer, work on some things mechanically. They're not logging a bunch of innings in the Cape Cod League or Northwoods League. They're not pitched for Team USA. You've got to get some development out of those guys. This is an interesting way to go about it. Probably not what I would envisioned in late May. But I do understand where Jay Johnson's going with this. We'll see if it pays off. The offense is going to be really good. I have very little doubt about that. The pitching I will question until early April of next year. You've got 10 more months of me questioning pitching until I've got a legitimate SEC sample size, not a non-conference sample size, and a legitimate SEC sample size that suggests LSU has got this figured out from a pitching perspective. And maybe it's Landon Hood at the top, Kason Evans is a 2, William Schmidt is a 3, and you know, Cooper Moore and Marcos Paz as key bullpen guys. We'll see. I'd like another left-hander. We'll see. Our Monday show is brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. GuaranteeHealth.com is the website, GuaranteeHealth.com. They are guiding healthcare forward at Guarantee Health Solutions. What they do there, they are a partner of those in the healthcare industry, making sure that you are as hospitable and as patient-friendly as possible. It's not something that every healthcare operation takes into consideration, but they are operational experts at Guarantee Health Solutions. What does your website look like? How does it function? They can help you with that. How is your marketing being implemented? Are you using social media? Are you using digital advertising? Are you using traditional advertising? They can help you with that. They make sure that when your patient walks in the front door, that experience is a positive one. Because oftentimes it's not. If you need expansion advice to understand where you need to be, what location works best for you, they can help you with that. They've taken a net promoter score of a recent partner from 65 to 90 in 3 months. It's full service, it's 24/7, and they're a partner of yours in the healthcare space. So if you are in that space, whether you're an urgent care facility, you're a hospital, you're a dental practice, private practice, whatever the case may be, they can help you at Guarantee Health Solutions in making sure your patient experience is a positive one. It's Guarantee Health Solutions. Find them online, GuaranteeHealth.com, GuaranteeHealth.com. Again, it's 7-2. Texas now in the batter's box in the bottom of the fourth inning. They got the leadoff man on. Again, a good crowd there at Charles Schwab Field. I want to get you caught up on those scores. Got lawsuits going on with Texas Tech. We've got NBA draft news. Certainly got take it or leave it. We got a lot to get to. Come back and close out the show with us, Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet, GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Summer's here. It's road trip season. You may be going to the beach. Got to pack up all that gear. Got to pack up all those kids. You might need a new ride for that. And if that's the case, get on by Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Got an incredible inventory of new as well as pre-owned SUVs like the Chevy Suburban, like the Chevy Tahoe. They've got your GMC Yukon. They've got the Denali as well. It's all there, new or used. They also got amazing deals on trucks. Looking for a 2026 Silverado, 0% APR financing for 36 months. Get on by before the end of June. You can get that. Got a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500, 2.6% financing for 72 months right there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you're looking for a Chevy Trax, maybe a Trailblazer, as low as $30,000, you can drive one today. Go by and see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Boudreaux, I had a smell behind my restaurant so bad, even the crawfish packed up and left.
Thibodeau, that's terrible. What'd you do?
Called Trash Rangers. They picked up everything. Fast, friendly, no fuss, make it smell good.
They handle my house trash too. Reliable as Momo's gumbo recipe.
Man, that's saying something.
Folks need good service from right here in Louisiana.
Then they better get on the TrashRangers.com before that smell comes back.
Amen to that.
Aye.
Hi, this is Brandon Knoll of Landmark Bank. At Landmark Bank, we believe banking should feel like home. That's why we keep it local, right here where our kids go to school, your neighbors wave hello, and your business grows. We're your neighbors, your friends, your fellow business owners. We've been here for generations, helping families grow, dreams take shape, and communities thrive. You're not just an account number to us, you're a face we know, a name we remember, and a story that we're proud to be a part of. Landmark Bank, local roots, local bankers, and real relationships.
Member FDIC.
Get your boat in at Front to Back Boat Service. Don't miss out on manufacturer rebates on everything from standard trolling motors to top-tier spot lock systems. Plus, all the major GPS and sonar brands, shallow water anchors, batteries, and of course, stereos, because you gotta have good sound on the water this summer. For 39 years, you've trusted Front to Back's certified marine installers for all your electrical repairs and upgrades. Get ready now at FrontToBackBoatService.com. That's FrontToBackBoatService.com.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. At Parrish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Parrish built. Parrish built. Parrish built. From your hometown, ParrishBuilt.com.
A drink can blur more than your judgment. It can blur the lane lines, the distance, the danger, and the lives around you. If you've been drinking or using anything that impairs you, don't drive. Make the call, hand over the keys, get a sober ride. Because one bad decision can follow you for the rest of your life. Responsibility travels with you. One road. Brought to you by Louisiana Highway Safety Commission.
Look, we've seen your crack. The one in your windshield, obviously. Before it takes your whole view, call Advanced Windshield. They'll handle the repair, the calibration, even the insurance. AdvancedWindshield.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Failure happens to us all, but it's how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is if you get back up when you fall. You gotta get up.
Wrapping things up here. Been a fun Monday here. Talked about a lot of things. LSU, Nabs, Jason Wax out of the transfer portal. We discussed that at the top of the show. Best and worst case scenarios for the Saints offense. We did that at the top of hour number 2. LSU football flipped a Cal offensive lineman in the recruiting ranks. We discussed a little bit of that. If you're looking for LSU content, you can always find ours at Hunt on LSU. That's the YouTube channel. You can find it wherever you find your podcast as well. Hunt on Saints for all our Saints coverage. You can check that out. Again, same place as YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. Also talked a little bit about the World Cup. Tunisia fired their coach after losing one game. They got 2 more to go. Fired their coach. I just think soccer's crazy. Just crazy people all over the place when it comes to soccer. And I just found out that we don't play again until Friday, a week between games in the World Cup. I did not know that either. But there's a lot of things I don't know about soccer, so I guess I'll kind of learn as the World Cup goes on. But apparently we did pretty well over the weekend, so that's a good thing, I guess. I was kind of locked into the College World Series, and that makes a lot of people roll their eyes, but that's okay. I like the College World Series, and I'm excited to watch tonight's game, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it. All right, so as you know, the New York Knicks have won the NBA Finals for the first time in 53 years on Saturday night. However, the celebration of this was pretty chaotic in the city. As tens of thousands filled the streets, there were smashing of windshields, climbing on top of buses and cars. Some fires started, even shots were fired. In all, a total of 63 people were arrested with charges including assault of police and possession of weaponry. Was this expected celebration of the fans in New York after the win? Take it or leave it?
I'll take it. And look, if you were going to tell me after the Knicks win the championship that only 63 people would be arrested, I think that's a pretty low number in Manhattan.
I think if you put it like an over-under number on it, I would have said
400.
Sure.
I mean, Manhattan is not exactly uptown New Orleans,
No.
okay? You're talking about just millions of people jammed into very tight quarters. As I said last week, you cannot expect a bunch of drunk people to make awesome decisions when being massed in by the tens of thousands. It doesn't happen in Tiger Stadium. Not going to happen in the streets of Manhattan. I would like to focus on the really cool things, like when they were singing the New York song.
Yeah, some of that stuff is
and
iconic.
like some of it was incredible, and it would only happen there in New York, in Manhattan. It was awesome. It was cool to see the videos people took just outside their apartment windows as the final sound went off, and like people were just screaming in the streets. Like, that's cool stuff. That's the stuff that really only sports can do. Yeah, okay, 63 people got arrested. Some morons set some stuff on fire.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. As long as you're not reporting anyone died, I'm okay with that. I think that's just to be expected, and it's just the way people are going to act, especially when you win it on a weekend night when everybody's been drinking at that late. It's just the way it's going to go.
I just think it would have been better if they finished in New York rather than San Antonio.
Yeah, it's just part of it. Cubs finished in Cleveland, too. It's just kind of the way it sometimes shakes out.
Right. All right, so Friday night, ahead of West Virginia's first game, Pat McAfee, a West Virginia alum, made it known on his show that he would be going to the World Series in the stop by Rocco's to buy some Jell-O shots. When he arrived, he had no idea how it worked, so he asked the general manager if he could write a check. The manager says, "Yeah, no, your checks would probably bounce," not in a joking matter. So following this experience, he goes to bash Rocco's, telling his story on his show. Does this negatively impact Rocco's moving forward? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. Like,
Leave it
people
alone.
on Twitter are saying that. If you go to the College World Series, which all Rocco's business does, you're walking by the stadium. Rocco's is literally right there. It's the closest bar to the stadium. So they're going to make a lot of money no matter what. I don't think you're going to get a lot of people that are super cranky about this unless they personally have a bad experience.
Yeah.
I don't think Gordon McKernan's going to talk super negatively about Rocco's. I think that they're going to continue to do big business. I realize that they're getting bad publicity for the McAfee thing, and I don't care about the Rocco's Jell-O shot thing. Like, I go to 12 other places in Omaha before I go to Rocco's. I've set foot in Rocco's exactly one time. So it's not necessarily my favorite place to go, but they're going to be just fine. They're going to sell a bunch of Jell-O shots. They're going to make a ton of money. They're going to donate a bunch of money to food banks. And I'm bummed out that they treated McAfee like that, because I just don't want any business to treat anyone like that. Like, talk to the person who's asking about something instead of being a jerk. I don't think you should be a jerk ever, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
All right, so let's see your last one. Hold on one sec. All right, so Oklahoma is having somewhat of a Cinderella run in the College World Series, going undefeated so far and shutting out Bama 9-0 on Saturday. Despite having a mediocre regular season at best, they are definitely heading in the right direction. Are looking hotter than ever at this point. Tonight they play Georgia, who is a favorite to win it all. Are you buying the momentum from Oklahoma to possibly beat Georgia? Take it or leave it.
Leave it, because I don't think Oklahoma's very good. I think Cord Rager threw it great against a mediocre Alabama team. And I think Oklahoma did an amazing thing going to Georgia Tech and winning that regional. And Georgia Tech just didn't keep up, and their arms weren't very good. I still hold out the fact, I believe, and I say this all the time, I think 56 games is a more representative sample size of who you are as opposed to 4. And right now you're riding an insane heater from Oklahoma that we've seen from some teams. We've seen Kent State make it to Omaha. We've seen Murray State make it to Omaha. Mm-hmm. We've seen Stony Brook make it to Omaha. Now we've seen Coastal Carolina go do the whole thing.
Yep.
And so that Coastal Carolina team did not have great pitching. The team LSU played last year was legit because they had 2 really good pitchers. This Oklahoma team